Hi guys. So I've never used the little camera picture-in-picture option before, so we'll see if it works okay. So this is my assessment of my current technology integration in my classroom. So a little background, I'm a kindergarten teacher. So my technology integration is not very high on the chart. It's actually the lowest, partially because of my kids' age, and the other part just due to the fact that I don't have technology available. I have a smart board, but I teach at two different buildings, so I only have a smart board at one of my buildings. I don't have it at the other. So I'm going to do it based off of where I have the smart board because that takes me a little bit higher up in some of the things that I've done, but not much. So anyway, so I got this stuff just right directly off of the Tim's website. Or the Tim website. So my current level of technology integration was the lowest. It was active learning and entry level. This basically is saying that the information is passively received by the students. So basically that means I'm standing up there, I'm teaching directly to my students based off of whatever the technology is, and they're sitting and receiving that information. They're not really being active in what they're doing. Here it says students receive the information from the teacher or from other sources. Students may be watching an instructional video on a website or using a computer program for drill and practice. So I've used things like Starfall, which is actually nice on the smartboard because they can come up and they can take turns moving things. And I do many, many YouTube videos of books being read or um, enrichment activities or enrichment videos that kind of further help the learning. So I found addition videos and subtraction videos and things like that to help support it. But again, it pretty much falls right under those two categories. They're watching a video or they're doing like a drill and practice type activity. Teacher is the only one using the technology actively. So again, they might come up and move it on the smartboard, but that's less often than me just using the technology myself. It also says that I might have them complete drill and practice activities on computers. Again, we don't have computers, but I would say that's probably equivalent to them coming up and doing it on the smartboard. But again, I can only have one kid at a time do that, so we don't do that a whole lot because it does take up a lot of time and it only benefits really one kid. Now, the other kids are sitting and watching what that child is doing, but it's not the same as actually doing it yourself. And then the setting, it's arranged for direct instruction and I can't speak, I'm so sorry. Direct instruction and individual work. Any student access to technology resources limited and highly regulated, which is absolutely what it is in my classroom. So my goal, I didn't want to be too ambitious again, just because of the fact that I have 5 and 6 year olds and I don't have a ton of technology, but I felt like this was kind of an attainable goal potentially. So this was active learning and at the adaptation level. So this is the conventional independent use of tools, some student choice and exploration. So I did actually a couple of years ago, I tried to get old iPads from a couple people and I got three, which I liked the idea of using those as a center. And I could use the Epic app for my kids to have books read to them, or they could get on Starfall and do activities. But unfortunately, the iPads were so old that the apps I wanted to use weren't compatible. But I think that would definitely be a way to use technology in my classroom. Again, if I could find some that were maybe compatible. I think that would be doable for my kids to do at a center by themselves. So again, in this one, students work independently with technology tools in conventional ways. Students are developing a conceptual understanding of technology tools and begin to engage with these tools. Again, I think iPads would be great because most kids have a tablet. Some even have an iPad, so they're pretty familiar with touching the screen, swiping, clicking, tapping. I don't think it would be too difficult to incorporate that into, a center or into like a learning station. I think that would be pretty doable for them at 5 and 6 years old. Especially if I had already had them logged in into like my account and they would just go on and they wouldn't have to type anything or try to navigate logging in or anything like that. That would take up time from class, which we wouldn't have to deal with then. This then says the teacher allows for some student choice and exploration of technology tools because the students are developing a conceptual and procedural knowledge of the technology tools. The teacher does not need to guide students step by step through activities. Instead, the teacher acts as a facilitator toward learning, allowing for greater student engagement with technology tools. So again, I think the iPads would be great because they would be able to navigate them for the most part. Now, obviously, in the very beginning, they would absolutely need my help and support with step-by-step instructions, and they would need to learn the programs if it's not a program they've ever done before. But I could definitely see it becoming or getting to the point where I am just facilitating and they don't really need my help or assistance. Um, Kids are capable of a lot more than we give them credit for sometimes. At least I find that with my 5 and 6 year olds. So I think that, again, if I could find the correct technology tools, I think this is absolutely a doable goal for me and for my kids. And again, setting technology tools are available on a regular basis. So I would make that part of a center or a rotation that we do, that when they go to that center, they know they get the iPad, they sit down, they work on one of the approved apps or whatever, and they log in and get right to work. So I think that, again, I think that's a doable goal for me and my kids, um, assuming I have the technology available. I think that would definitely be a good place to at least start, and then maybe see if we could move farther along in the matrix as well. But I think this is definitely a doable goal for 5 and 6 year olds and for my classroom. Oh, and here's my references because I did use information directly from the TIM Matrix.